So I am a very ardent and proud bibliophile. I love books, and so does my daughter Jewell. I trace my love for reading back to my grandmother, who couldn't go to school beyond 8th grade because her parents were farmers and sharecroppers, and she could only go to school part of the year. So she was what we would call an autodidact, someone who is self-taught. She would read very fervently all the time, and as a little girl, she would tell me when she migrated from Georgia to Michigan, she kept reading and kept reading and kept telling me how important reading was, and then that was reinforced by my father, who always said, you know, mind is a terrible thing to waste. Knowledge is power. It was always about books. It was always about literature. It was always about history, culture, political science. I guess that's probably why I became a sociologist. I would take you to the library at 2 years old and let Jewell start picking out books and things like that, and how you got into reading yourself.
Yeah, every week my mom and I will go to the Detroit Public Library. A reward for me growing up as a child was a trip to a bookstore where I could pick out a few books. It wasn't about toys or video games, it was all about books.
Yeah.
So I feel like I inherited that same passion and love for books like my mom and my grandfather and my great-grandmother. At first it started off as just like a passion of mine and books being a form of escape, but as I began to grow and become a young adult and really step into like my Black womanhood, I realized that books are far more significant than I thought, especially with our ancestors, like my mom said, who were denied the right to read. Books helped me step into my own Blackness. The more that I read about my history, the more I feel connected to my Blackness. For us, literature is a legacy. It's literally our legacy. It's freedom. It's liberation.
I think one of the greatest gifts you can give a family, your children, is a library, a home library. And while I know books are expensive and you can't always afford them, you know, utilizing your local library is important, but just to own your own books and to teach yourself every day, because isn't it amazing how much you learn when you read on your own? I have reading about my history, about Black history. I've learned so much more about my people and about Black people and about our legacy and our ancestors and all the things we've contributed to American society. Probably 1/10 of that I learned in school. I've turned my students into readers, and I love that too.
And the more you read, the more it just creates that passion to keep reading. You know, reading is a right, but it's also, I feel like, especially being Black, it's a responsibility. You should partake in reading because the more you know, the more that you grow. So I'm grateful that my mom passed down that love, and I hope that one day when I have children, I'll be able to do the same for them.
Absolutely.